Computer weather graphics provided by WSI, provider of real-time information services and innovative products for the analysis and forecasting of weather information.
Happy Independence Day, everybody, and welcome to AM Weather. I'm Carl Weiss.
And I'm Joan Von Ahn. Well, the first tropical storm of the season for the Atlantic has moved onshore across the Florida Panhandle. We'll take a look at this and more during our satellite segment. First, let's start out with a look at the jet stream. We'll see how that's affecting our weather across the country. We do find a ridge of high pressure off the Pacific coast. Jet stream carves a trough in the northwestern part of the country, then a ridge taking it north of the border into eastern Canada before it dips down across the Atlantic provinces. We put the picture into motion. Major weather features are the area of high pressure keeping the heat on across the southern part of the country, but this trough associated with the front pushing through the north-central part of the country. Now down in the tropical Pacific, what's left of Carlotta is a tropical depression, continues to weaken as it moves to the west. There's a new disturbance to the south of Baja. We'll be keeping our eye on that one. Back to the 48 states, of course, the big story was that Alberto made landfall yesterday morning. We'll take a closer look at that in a little bit. First, let's take a look at what's been going on across the rest of the country. We found this front became stationary from the Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic coast, producing some severe weather. About 1 inch of rain fell at Cincinnati. We did see some severe weather with hail, several injuries due to lightning in northern New Jersey. Norfolk, Virginia picked up 2 inches of rain, and Jackson, Kentucky, 1 inch of rain, while Elkins, West Virginia, and the nation's capital both picked up about 1/2 inch of rain. Other strong thunderstorms moved through the central part of the country. A tornado touched down at Steele in North Dakota, and we saw more than 1 inch of rain in only 25 minutes at Lidgerwood, also in North Dakota. Some strong thunderstorm winds also across the High Plains. Now, Alberto moved across the Florida Panhandle early yesterday morning. It made landfall near Fort Walton Beach with maximum winds as much as 60 miles per hour. By 4 p.m., it was downgraded to a tropical depression centered just to the southwest of Ozark, Alabama, with maximum winds already down to 35 miles per hour. Early this morning, it's right around south to the southeast of Montgomery, Alabama. It continues to weaken rapidly as it moves to the north-northeast, about 10 miles per hour. At this point, the main threat is now from heavy rains, and these could produce some flash flooding. We'll take a look at the regional NORAD this morning, centered around Alberto, and it is raining still in the east-central sections of Alabama. Rain's moving toward the Atlanta area, and it's concentrated in the band through central and western sections of Georgia, as well as down across the Florida Panhandle. We'll take a look at the national radar summary and put things in motion, and you can see that area of precipitation around Alberto very slowly moving off to the northeast with tops ranging from 25 to 28,000 feet. 54,000 foot tops to the showers and thunderstorms off the coast of North Carolina. Now, other showers and thunderstorms stretch from the Texas Panhandle northward through the mid-Mississippi Valley and into the upper Midwest. Tops range from about 31 to as high as 54,000 feet. We'll move on now to this morning's current weather map, and we find that stationary front from the Midwest eastward into the Mid-Atlantic region. The air is steamy to the south, and along the front, fog and haze has formed this morning, in addition to the areas of precipitation that we just saw on radar. Visibility is right down to zero at both Du Bois and Franklin, Pennsylvania, also at Parkersburg, West Virginia, and 1/8 of a mile of the nation's capital. Fog and haze are also around that area of showers and thunderstorms in the deep south. Visibility is down to 1.5 miles in a combination of rain and fog at Columbus, Georgia. In the north-central part of the country, we saw the precipitation on radar. Visibility is down to 1/2 mile up at Devil's Lake, North Dakota, 1.5 miles at Mason City, Iowa. The weather becomes more tranquil as we move westward, just some areas of fog out along the coast of California. Now, the temperature extremes around the nation at 6 a.m. Eastern Time range from 31 degrees at Meacham, Oregon to 87 degrees at both El Paso, Texas and Las Vegas, Nevada. Carl?
With the summer vacation season in full swing, if you have outdoor activities planned, you'll certainly want to know what kind of weather you can expect. Let's find out with our series of forecast maps, and we'll start with the map for later in the day on Monday. We find an area of low pressure. That's all that's left to Alberto, down over the southeastern states, continuing to bring some locally heavy rainfall to parts of Alabama, Georgia, and the coastal Carolinas. More widely scattered showers and thunderstorms elsewhere through the southeast. They pick up again over the western Great Lakes and the Midwest, and along this frontal system over parts of the northern plains and the central high plains. Hit-or-miss showers and thunderstorms over the central or southern Rockies and the southwest, and some lingering rain showers from the Montana Rockies westward through much of Washington. High pressure bringing dry weather, clear skies to the northeast, and dry weather elsewhere through the plateau and the southwest. On Tuesday evening, we'll have a weakening trough over the eastern part of the United States with showers and thunderstorms, a good bet from the eastern Great Lakes northward to just east of James Bay. Showers and thunderstorms, leftover moisture from Alberta, continuing to bring some locally heavy amounts of rain to parts of the southeast. Hit-or-miss showers and thunderstorms from the western lakes down to the Big Bend area of Texas and through parts of the Central Plains and the Rockies. Good chance of showers and thunderstorms over the northern Rockies, continuing over the central high plains and through parts of the upper Midwest. Dry weather now moving into the northwest, and dry weather also for New England. And then late on Wednesday, low-pressure system frontal wave bringing some showers and thunderstorms from the eastern lakes into interior sections of New England, much of eastern Canada. Showers and thunderstorms widely scattered over the southeast. And a low-pressure system getting organized over eastern parts of Nebraska will bring a good chance of showers and thunderstorms to much of the upper Mississippi Valley, northern plain states. Showers and thunderstorms widely scattered into the Texas Panhandle and into the mountains of Wyoming. Dry weather with high pressure building into the northwest. High temperatures for this Monday will find cool 60s over the far northern Rockies and along the northwest coast, 70s into the mountains of Wyoming and the higher elevations of northern Arizona, as well as eastern parts of New England. Elsewhere, 80s or better for much of the United States, steamy 90s over the Southland, temperatures topping 100 degrees over the southwest deserts, and more than 110 degrees once again in the lower Colorado Valley. Tuesday's high temperatures showing little change over the southwest, blistering heat, mercury topping 100 in most locations. A little bit milder over the northwest, temperatures in the 70s, still 60s over the northern Rockies. Little change elsewhere from the plain states on eastward. Overnight low temperatures, 40s, 50s from the plain states back to the central and northern Rockies and into the plateau and along the Pacific coastline. New England will be generally in the 50s with a wedge of 70s stretching northward to the lower Great Lakes, 60s into western Texas, and 60s southward to Tidewater, Virginia. And then by early on Wednesday morning, we'll find 50s once again over New England, 60s stretching southward into the central and southern Appalachians, 70s once again northward to the lower lakes, 50s and even 40s over the northern Rockies and parts of the interior northwest. Looking at the amount of rainfall we can expect into early Tuesday morning, once again what's left of Alberta producing locally heavy amounts of rain, especially over central and eastern Georgia, upwards of 3 to 4 inches, not out of the question. 1 to 2 inches from northern Florida into the mountains of western North Carolina. Elsewhere, a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch from southern Florida to the mountains of western Maryland, and then northwestward across the Ohio Valley and into the upper Midwest. Parts of the Midwest seeing 1 inch of rain, same is true over the central plain states, and a 1/4 inch of rain just brushing the northern Montana mountains and westward into northern Washington. Now for the upcoming month of July, we find the warm weather trend will continue across much of the United States. Odds favor 6 in 10 chance of above normal temperatures from the southwest, Rocky Mountain states across the plains and into the east. The only cool weather spots should be found along the northwest coast into the northern Rockies and along the Gulf of Mexico. And looking at rainfall for the upcoming 30-day period, right along the mid-Atlantic coast, it should be drier than normal, as well as parts of the upper Mississippi Valley into the southern plain states and from the plateau into California. Wet weather once again will be found over the northwest and in a band from northern New England and eastern Great Lakes southward to the Gulf Coast. Joan?
It's time for the aviation segment of our program. We'll start out with this morning's map, then we'll get a look at the forecast for later today. Right now we do have reports of flight delays in the Atlanta area. We do have low conditions around what's left of Alberta across the deep south and into the southeast. Then some low conditions with fog and some scattered showers here and there with the stationary front from New England, the mid-Atlantic states back into the upper Mississippi Valley and the eastern sections of the northern and central plains. Low conditions across the Canadian prairies, interior Washington, and then some fog and haze along parts of the California coast. This morning, there are widespread areas of significant icing. We'll move on to the low-level turbulence. It's light to moderate from the southwest to the high plains. 3 areas of convective turbulence to 50,000 feet in the plains, to 35,000 feet in the Midwest, and also around what's left of Alberta across Florida and into the southeast. The higher levels, light to moderate jet shear from 25 to 40,000 feet in the Pacific Northwest. Later today, we expect low conditions around what's left of Alberta in the southeast, some marginal VFR and IFR weather, also from central Illinois to the central lakes, Also from northwestern Minnesota across the Canadian prairies. VFR weather for most of the rest of the country, except some low conditions right along the front from South Dakota to Nebraska and also along the central California coast. The turbulence for later today, thermals to 14,000 feet in the southwest and strong winds across the Rockies and High Plains, then convective turbulence in parts of the Central Plains, the upper Mississippi Valley, the central Great Lakes, and then through the southeast as well. It's time for high-level turbulence first, and we'll find it becomes moderate between 25 and 40,000 feet with the strengthening trough as it moves into the Pacific Northwest. Now it's time for winds aloft, and we'll start them at 2,000 feet above ground level. Find 25-knot winds from the central Rockies to the central plains and also from northern Montana into Canada. Up at 10,000 feet, we find 25 to 50-knot winds at the Canadian border in the north-central part of the country, also from the central plains into the southwestern part of the country and through parts of New England. Finally, up at 18,000 feet, strongest winds in excess of 50 knots from New England northward, 25 to 50-knot winds to the northeast and much of the west as well. It's time for Weather Watch. Let's get back to Carl.
In the southeast, the remnants of the tropical storm expected to continue to dump heavy amounts of rain. Flash flood watches have been issued for Monday for much of western and central Georgia. More flash flood watches are posted for Monday and Monday night across central and southern mountains and the southern foothills of North Carolina. And the northwest third of South Carolina also has a flash flood watch in effect, but for Monday night and Tuesday. Now, there is a flash flood warning until 7:15 local time in southeastern Alabama for Barber and northern Henry counties. The National Severe Storms Forecast Center says that there is a slight risk of severe thunderstorms into early Tuesday morning from the western Great Lakes and upper Mississippi Valley southward into Kansas and the plains of eastern Colorado and southeastern Wyoming. Moving out to the Pacific coastline, small craft advisories are flying for California coastal waters from Point Sal to Point Conception and over the outer coastal waters. More small craft advisories extend from Monterey Bay northward to Newport, Oregon, including the waters of San Francisco Bay, and the central and east entrance to the Strait of Juan de Fuca also have small craft advisories in effect. That is Weather Watch and our program for this 4th of July. Have a great holiday. Make sure you come back and join us again right here on Tuesday.
Computer weather graphics provided by WSI, provider of real-time information services and innovative products for the analysis and forecasting of weather information.